Summertime and the living's easy. Hey folks, Ryer Appledorn here. How y'all doing? I am wicked exhausted. I just got back from a road trip where I drove to New Jersey in a day, stayed for a day, and drove back the next day. About a 15-hour drive for me, and it was long. I made this really ugly tiki as a proof of concept and took it with me and tweeted the whole road trip. I did it sort of as a promo thing for a podcast that I do a little bit of work for, which is why I was going to Jersey. I was meeting these guys and meeting all the community that I interact with through public relations, and it was a really great trip. Along the way, I drove through Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is a location I was told I should stop at by a few of you, and I picked up a couple kits because it is a really awesome store. The first thing I got, I have never really been a boat builder, never been into shipbuilding. I've been thinking once I get back to the laser cutters, I might try and do an all-wooden ship model, but I was watching some of QDC's videos, and recently he built a harbor tugboat, and I really liked the way that looked. And so when I walked into the model cave in Ypsilanti, I went right to the back and was going to work my way forward, and they had the harbor tugboat kit from Revell. It was already opened, but it was still sealed in its bag and everything like that, and it was a really good price, so I picked this up. I'm not going to build it, pretty. In fact, of course, I'm going to build it my normal way, but I'm going to go really over the top with the base for this thing. I also picked up a 1/16 scale Stutz racer. I really, really love these old cars, as I talked about before, and it's really frustrating that it's really hard to find cars like this. So I found a Stutz. I'm really happy that I have this because it's going to be a complementary car to a diorama that I'm building. That diorama is also going to include a mini craft kit of a 1935 Morgan that I've been working on off and on here and there. This kit, as cool as it is to be building a big car like this Morgan, the kit was not molded very well, and so I've had to reconstruct a lot of the front end, and that's totally altered the direction I was going to take with the build. But I think these two are going to complement each other very well. The Hubley Packard that I built a while back, that was very kindly sent to me, will also be part of this diorama. And then the last thing I picked up at the model cave, I picked up 3 kits. I hope to get back there. It is kind of a bit of a drive. It's about a 3-hour drive for me to get out there. And so if I make it back, I do want to pick up some, they have a whole bunch of Dr. Cranky's decals and some other really cool detailed parts. So I think if I start any more builds before summer ends and I head to Chicago, I might go back out there, grab some of Dr. Cranky's decal papers, and maybe some of those detail kits too, and do a really fun Cranky-ish build. The last kit that I picked up from the model cave is one that I've been actually looking for a while. I didn't know that they had ever made a kit of this car, so I was very happy to find it, and it's the Ford Edsel, which, the lemon sucker. Everyone thinks this is one of the ugliest cars ever made. I have a real soft spot for it. And one of my favorite versions of the Edsel is found in the second Back to the Future movie. They have a futuristic version of the Edsel. I'm working on a diorama project right now, which will be sort of my tribute to Back to the Future. The focus of that diorama is going to be the amazing Flying Merc, which I have not worked on at all this summer, sadly. will be this car will be the focus of it. But I want to have a lot of kind of failed background inventions, and so I'm going to use the Edsel and paint it similarly to the one that's in the second Back to the Future movie. But it is going to be the body of this, which is going to be a walking car that's built up, and I'm going to have all of my chopped car kits I'm using on it. I've got a 59 Caddy front end here. The Edsel will be on top. I have an Impala front end that'll go here. And then the legs I made by laser cutting all these parts on the laser cutter. It's a four-legged, or each one of these. Normally there are, there's 2 legs on each. Normally there are 6 on a Strong Beast minimum. I only put 4 on because it was already big enough. But this was all in 1,000 little pieces that I've been slowly assembling, putting together, and finally got it ready for, got my primer on it, sealed up the wood that it's cut out of, and then, in theory this could function. I built it so it would be stationary, but yeah, so this is all going to get covered, in all these car parts. This, like I said, is a 59 Cadillac, and it, just really heavy use on the greeblies, and this will just be a background character in that diorama. Underneath the Edsel, which is, I think is just a really cool car, is the body of this this tank, and this is from a kit that I picked up in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. On my way back from Jersey, I stopped at the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum because I like trains, and they had a hobby shop not connected to the museum that was there, and they only really ever it was all model train stuff, but it was nothing in my scale. You've seen how big I like my trains, but they did have this tank kit, classic tank, and I bought it because I thought maybe I'd want bigger treads for another project that I'm working on, but it is just such a terrible, terrible kit. It's pretty much just trash. It was a waste of $9. So I'm just going to use the body of that tank just to kind of beef up that Strong Beast. The treads are not very detailed. Essentially this kit was just a toy that wasn't assembled, and they just sent you the parts and some screws and a little tiny screwdriver, and it's just such a waste. Anyway, so what I might do is I might take the body of the Challenger that I started at the beginning of this summer, which I've just been kind of using as a weathering experiment since the gold leaf actually is now looking really cool. I might strip this whole car down and just cover it in gold leaf because I like that look. But I might, go a little wacky with it and throw that on there. The other car, I think it was a Charger. Yeah, it's Charger. That I bought along with this kit. That one is a little bit themed after Mad Max Fury Road, and so I might as well, make this one a little Mad Maxy as well. I also picked up the Ecto 1 kit. I am a big Ghostbusters fan. Not actually a big fan of the Ecto 1. It's not one of my favorite prop cars. There aren't a lot of great prop cars out there, and it's really hard to hold a candle to the DeLorean from Back to the Future, or Nemo's car from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I don't care what any of you say, that's a good movie. It's a fantastic movie. But anyway, I don't really want to build the Ecto 1. Why I did buy this kit is because I have a soft spot in my heart for the 1959 Cadillac Eldorado. I'm building a ton of them right now and referencing them and everything, and so I thought I would like to build a Cadillac Eldorado. And the first thing I've been doing that I've been having a lot of fun with is I've been using Citadel's paints to weather the chrome on this car, and then I'm also making it into a goobery looking half track. All I've gotten as far as I've taken this 1/35th scale transport tank and really crudely glued everything together, but eventually this is going to be a beefed out Wintermobile. I don't know how I'm going. I want to put skis on the front end. I don't know how to make skis, so if any of you have any suggestions on how I should go about making the skis for this car, let me know. I'd love to hear it. And then this is going to be set in a winter diorama, which I'm very excited about making. I don't know if I want to. I'm thinking for paint schemes for this car. I either want to paint it all in a winter camouflage type, or I want to paint it in olive green, and then normally where there would be a little bit of chrome or something along the back here, I want to use red paint to tie in the story of this with another story that I'm working on, which I'll talk about in the future. Other than that, I've been working on basing a lot these past couple weeks. This base, I posted about it on my Facebook a couple weeks ago. This is a cave where there is a Ford abandoned inside, and it's incorporating natural elements. So there's rock on here, and there's this piece of wood, which I had to cut the foam away from, and then this will all be integrated onto a board, and this will actually be a cave with a meadow on the top that slopes back. More to come with this as I start painting it. The other base that I've been spending a lot of time on is this one, which will be a wonderful tropical meadow for the fleet of Tiki vehicles that I'm building. So some of you might remember the 49 Mercury wagon that I built a while back, which also is, kind of in the front runner with the 59 Cadillac for my favorite classic vehicle. And I decided that I wanted to build a whole fleet of these Tiki surf rods. And so for a while back, I worked on this 41, I think. Yes, 41 Chevy pickup, which turned out okay. I need to get some CA remover and rework. There's a trunk gap there that I'm not a fan of. But this is a fun one. I really weathered up the bed and put some dirt and bushes in there, and there's a little Tiki guy in there. This will, this one's for the most part done. I do have a couple details that I have to put in it. That will go on this. Then I have been working on this Bel Air kit, which is just a snap kit. This one is going to have, I'm going to build a load under a tarp that'll go there, put some tires on a rack there, and then I need to also, I don't know how, so if anyone has any suggestions on how to do this, I need to build a surf rack, or surfboard that'll go in the surf rack there. So anyone's got any information on skis or a surf rack, or a surfboard, let me know. But this one, I've also, I'm debating if I should do this or not. I'm thinking I might use the airbrush and put a patch of sky blue here, and then draw a Tiki god on the hood of this car, so that way, there's Tikis on this car, there's a Tiki in the bed of this car, and then have one on the hood of this. He will rest down here on the rocks like that. And then for the very top spot is this 32 Ford Street Rod kit from Monogram, which I decided to do a really explosive color scheme on that one, very roached out and very rusty. But the fun thing for me with this one, I have been sculpting a new front grille to give him, his Tiki will be just the front grille of the car, and then the eyes will be what, but we won't go into it too much. We'll surprise that later on. So yeah, this one is going to be a fun one when all is said and done here. Alright, other than that, I did pick up this 1952 Chevy Fastback from Lindbergh. It's a 1/32 scale model, so it's a little smaller. I thought it would just be a fun little thing. It was only $10 at Hobby Lobby. One bag with a couple sprues in it. Thought it'd be really fun, smaller, a little different. And what I might do for this one is I might build a shadow box and build a whole diorama inside the shadow box so you can hang it on the wall. Yep. So other than that little 1/32 car, I also picked up this 1953 Ford pickup truck, this from AMT, this Model T Ford fruit wagon kit from AMT, and then this monogram kit of a 1940 Ford street rod. The one on the bottom here, that is going to be for a diorama. It's a totally abandoned truck left in a forest. I'll be posting more about that on Facebook, hopefully later this week. The fruit wagon, I just always had this image in my head of a dirty, old, yet super colorful Model T, and the fruit wagon does come with the option to build. It is a totally stock Model T pickup. And then the 40 Ford Coupe, that is for a project that I'm working on where I'm going to build a car as it was when it was running, and then build the car what it would be as a Beastie, because I am working on a new Beastie book. Surprise. But we have more work to do on that, and none of these kits have even been... I've only opened them to look at the parts and smell the fresh styrene. I haven't done anything with them, so they're just kind of here for now. I also finished the Space Marines Razorback kit that I talked about in my last video. It is all done. I'm very, very happy with it. However, I have seemed to have lost it for now. I'm not sure where it went. I left for New Jersey and came back, and it was not where I left it. So I will be doing a video about that kit and that build once I have that and all of the figures finished. You know, it's a very challenging type of model to build, and I kind of know what I'm going to do next once I have the money to afford to do another round of those. If you want more information before that video comes out, please check out my Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/RyerAppledornArt. I'll leave a link down here. I haven't been very good or diligent at updating it, but I will get better at that. I'm hoping that with summer coming to a close, I will be a little more dedicated to posting about all my various projects daily. So, you know, if you're interested in any of my builds and getting, you know, closer photos or kind of hearing my musings about what's going on in my studio, please check that out. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback about things. One last thing before I take off. I am on the hunt for a couple things. I've already asked you guys about surfboards and skis, but also this is a small kit, not necessarily the smallest kit that I've built scale-wise, but it is small, and I realize that pretty much every car kit out there is 1/24th, 1/25th, maybe some 1/18th, maybe some 1/16th, but I would like to go bigger. And I'm having a hard time finding a kit that is within my means. I don't know exactly what scale I'm looking for, but you guys know from my builds, most of my stuff is from around 1970 or it's older, so I don't really build any contemporary cars. It's just not really interesting to me. And I'm looking for something that's big, you know, like this. Fortunately, everything I found, which is this size, has been the model year of car that I've wanted to build, you know, early 30s to 20s era. The problem is that they're all way out of my price range. I mean, I have a lot of kits here, and I have a lot invested in these kits, yes, but, you know, most of these cost maybe 18 bucks at the most from where I'm sourcing them from, and a lot of these bigger kits tend to cost upwards of $200, and I know that that's just, you know, part of the animal, part of the beast, and I accept that, but if anyone out there, you know, has a hot tip about maybe where I can find one of these larger car kits that is kind of my style, but also in a more affordable price range, I'd really appreciate it. I'd be interested to see if my builds and my building style translates well into that larger size. So if anyone has any feedback there or a hot scoop, please send me a message on Facebook or in Gmail or through YouTube, whatever. I would really, really appreciate it. yes, that's it for now, guys. I'm super, super tired. I'm exhausted. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to bed. And I'm going to sleep forever. And so keep it cool, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching the video. These are all my projects. Behind me is the great big list, which I thought I was going to get through this summer. I had 41 projects on it, and instead of scratching stuff off, I just added about, 20 more projects on top of that. Oops. So, all right, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.